Okay, so we were talking about the first stick boom. Was that the 9-inch flapper or the 6-inch flapper?
6-inch.
6-inch flapper, and it would go 100 feet.
No, it was
The boom.
the boom. When I told the story about the 100-foot, that was a very rare occasion.
Oh,
That
okay.
was a bit of
It's
dare.
not recommended. No, it's really only 40 foot, 60-foot reach, depending on whether we had it with a 3-inch line or a 4-inch line.
Okay.
Okay.
It was always 10 feet short. No matter what boom we built, it was always 10 feet short.
Yeah.
I think it's the same way today too.
Like the 3-inch was 70 feet and the 4-inch was 40 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there was just one of these at this time.
Oh, no, we
Oh.
manufactured.
No, these were in production.
Okay.
They were used quite a bit because they could reach out and hold that hose up
Right.
and swing it over the small slab or something.
And you could move it in and out by raising the boom up and down and removing or adding hose. That's the way you got the hose over the property.
And there was
I mean,
there any outriggers on this?
oh yes,
You had outriggers.
mechanical
They-
outriggers.
They're manual, yeah.
Did you ever have any of them tip over?
No. No. None of those.
What was the biggest problem you had with this?
Because
pump?
the swing was only about 45 degrees off the rear of the
Oh,
truck.
okay. Yeah. So you had quite a few of these in production, and what was the Achilles heel of this pump? And what was this pump called? What name did you give it?
This was a 600 series,
600 series. Thompson.
Thompson 600 series.
Okay.
Just the pump. It's just the pump only was the model 600.
You remember what they sold for?
Yeah, $20,000 with a brand new truck.
Yeah. And that was a Ford.
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 Yeah. Then,
You remember what concrete was pumped? What people were charging for back then?
no, didn't know anything about that part of it.
All I knew is they were making money.
Right.
And
Did anybody else have a boom pump out at that time that you know of?
No.
not that we know of. Now, actually, you might say we were so damn busy trying to develop something new for the trade every few months and minding our own business, we didn't know what was going on in the rest of the world. I didn't know the Whiteman was over there across town building a pump. I didn't know that in Europe they had the pump creep machine with the harsh pump going through 8-inch lines and things like that. We didn't let that bother our thinking. We were only interested in developing products that could be used in the United States with our ready mix system.
When people were coming from all over the United States to buy the 600.
Yes,
You remember some of the names of some of the first guys that bought any of the pumps?
yeah.
Let's hear them.
Earl Bonenkamp, the Murley organization, Murley Brothers. And
Merly, they were originally Merly Plastron.
Yeah, and you like that. One of our main big customers, though, was in Japan. The Marubeni Aida Company Corporation, a big corporation. We'd ship about 10 completed units to them, take them down to the dock with the hose and pipe and everything. All they had to do is put concrete in the hopper and start pumping.
Yeah.
And they really took to them over there. And I didn't know at the same time that the squeeze pump was over there and quite popular.
Let me interrupt, tell about the handshake agreement you made with the Japanese that they would not copy it. Just a handshake, not a written contract.
Right.
And they never did copy
No.
it until we got out of there.
Right.
You know, I'd go over there by myself, sit down with about 15 or 20 Japanese engineers, and each one of them would be able to ask a question about the system. And through an interpreter, I'd give them an answer. So anyway,
This is early 60s?
It was about, 67.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the trade, like you say, they always want more,
Right.
more. So that's when we started, we developed a 9-inch valve,
The folding boom.
and we made a folding boom, which was a scissor boom.
May I tell the story of the folding boom?
Yeah,
We built the folding boom because saw the limitations of the rigid boom. And I got one working. It was experimental, and I took it up on a job up by the Figueroa Tunnels in Los Angeles. Cal Roner was the pumping contractor, and I was trying to demonstrate it to him with the switches and so forth. And I can remember him, I quote him, "Give me that thing, you don't know how to run it." He took that and he made it sing. And from then on, I never operated another boat.
And who was that again?
Cal Roner,
Okay. What did he do?
pumping contractor.
Oh, okay.
He retired to a dairy farm in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
so,
So how far did the folding boom reach?
At that time, I believe it was 60 feet.
yeah.
And then, of course, never went over 100, I don't think.
Excuse
Used to
me,
build in
just
it.
a minute now. We went to 110 feet.
110. And I still don't know how they build these that go as far as they do.
Yeah, 70 plus meters.
Yeah.
No, but
They're fantastic machines they build today. They're just marvelous.
but one of our big problems was the load limit on the highways. Axle, you can only put so much weight on an axle on the highway.
33,000 pounds.
And so we get those 3 front axle and 2 rears loaded, we couldn't add any more weight. And so now that's why you have such big trucks, these big booms, because you gotta spread the weight out on the axles.
Right.
So we more or less were limited to that at that time. And, but the folding boom was the 700 series. And then, let's see, I assure you I was there, but I can't remember it all.
I did.
So the 700 series, the 740C, which was a dual 3-axle truck, folding boom, and 9-inch valve, it could pump upwards of 60 yards an hour. Had become the most popular unit we ever built. It seemed to fit the job size and everything at that time. So it was very popular. But then, to reach farther, we finally went into the 100-foot boom. And I caught hell from the corporate office because we took it over to the World of Concrete and had a private showing not at the exhibition area, but in a private room. We showed this 100-foot boom, which was 99% complete. It wasn't ready to be mass produced and sold, but we wanted the customers to see that we were doing it. And I caught hell from the corporate office for doing that, but it paid off anyway, because they didn't understand the business.
Right.
Let me interrupt. They understood, the Bennett brothers, that anything they made was good
Mm-hmm.
at that time. In other words, our reputation.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm bragging.
You have every right to brag.
Yeah, you're bragging.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, the 740 had a 62-foot reach. With today's standards, that's not very much. Yeah.
And so at this time, are there quite a few employees, or how many people are you working with right now to produce a 740?
Bunch.
Well, because we had a machine shop, a weld shop, a prep shop, and we made everything that went into that pump ourselves.
Paint shop.
So that's why we had quite a few employees. I'd say we had, at that time, we probably had about 80 employees.
80 to 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a few.
And the only thing we didn't do was hard chroming and things like that. And
You're building all the parts.
all the parts for the plaster pumps and the grout pumps and the concrete pumps.
Right. And who's your competition at this point?
All I can remember being so prominent at that time was Mr. Marv Whiteman
Yeah.
over in the valley. He had the slide valve, which could handle a harsher mix than the flapper valve. So for that reason, he was able to sell it in areas where we couldn't.
Whiteman was already a manufacturer of concrete buggies
And finish machines.
and finish machines, and his was the best power-driven buggy and finishing machine at that time. But when the concrete paint pumps came in, of course the buggies went out, and he saw the writing on the wall and started in the pump business.
Right. Did he have a boom at this time, or?
After we came out with our boom, then of course the other manufacturers came out with booms. It would take them about 6 months to a year to catch up. But by the time they caught up, I had another idea.
Right.
We always try to keep a year ahead. And only by increasing the volume output, the pressure it could pump, and the size of the boom, that we kept ahead. And we were able to do that for a number of years.